Hello, welcome to my channel. I am Brita Wallace, family and parent educator with Wallace Family Ministry, and we are on a 40-day Love Dare journey where we are really just challenging each other to do the Love Dares, and this one is for parents. I also have a Love Dare for marriages as well, which is just regular Love Dare, it's called. So make sure you tune into that if you haven't already. We are doing these studies simultaneously, so you can just tune right in. We're on day 9 of those studies as well. So we're just going to hop right into day 9, and day 9 is love cherishes. So we always start with a verse. As one whom his mother comforts, so I will comfort you. Isaiah 66:13. Men can love their children in deep, aspiring ways. Anyone who thinks a father's love is limited simply because he is a male is reading more into a stereotype than into reality or the richness of Scripture, the richness of how we are created by our Heavenly Father, right? But still, priceless and precious is a mother's love, okay? There is a reason why Mother's Day is the #1 card sending holiday for the year. Why more people dine out than on that one Sunday than any other special occasion. God has made the love of a mother to be warm and wonderful. So cherish actually means to make warm, okay? Love gives each of us the opportunity to love and cherish our children as they grow. We want to make them warm. If we're really, really strict and really, really hard on them, then that's going to be who they grow up to be. We want to make sure that doesn't mean that we don't discipline them. That doesn't mean that there are not consequences for things, but that we are speaking the truth in love. And I think that's where we get it wrong a lot in parenting, is that we speak truth, but it's not always in love, right? We speak truth. We say things that we don't mean out of our frustration and anger, and we have to be careful of this. We want to cherish our children, to make them warm-hearted, right? So these ideas are captured in the word cherish, which doesn't just mean to love in a generally way, but more specifically, again, to make warm. It describes a cold, hungry, frightened newborn being placed in the caring arms of his mother. She holds him close and completely wraps her helpless child in the radiating warmth of her embrace and tender love. She nurses and nourishes him. She gently strokes his soft face and his tiny hands. She kisses the crown of her baby's head, caressing his soft, delicate hair. She whispers and sings gently into his ears. She comforts and calms his fears. He feels safe and loved. All is well in the warmth of his mother's arms. This is cherishing, okay? Love gives each of us the opportunity to cherish our children as they grow. Again, okay? Our tender, loving, and caring, appropriate touches race through our children's nerve endings and carry warmth right into their hearts. So, thankfully, life provides moms and dads with all kinds of everyday chances for this, for all ages of children. Your tender care and loving, appropriate touches, again, race through their nerve endings and carry warmth right into their hearts. Those are key points, okay? So, it can be as simple as wrapping your arm around your son's shoulder, taking your daughter's hand, holding them while you watch a movie, giving them a wink, a gentle squeeze on their arm during church. It's sitting in a traffic light and reaching back and patting their knee, stopping them in the hallway for a quick hug and a kiss on the forehead. Sometimes it's tickling or wrestling and being playful with them, or, playing in a pile of leaves with them. That's creating warmth. It's creating connection. We're doing things to just show them a loving, warm gesture, okay? But even as you're reading this, you may already feel yourself pushing back. Like, that's just not how I was raised. I'm just not touchy-feely. That's just not me, right? Maybe you do better at communicating your love through nods, through silent smiles, and by providing meat on the table. And that's understandable. Not everyone recalls fond memories of how physical touch was previously extended to them, okay? But regardless, the loving strength of your touch remains one of the daily distinct gifts God has given you to capture and cherish the hearts of your children. And while you shouldn't feel pressured out of your natural temperament, remember that Jesus appropriately touched children as a blessing to them. Mark 10:16, and your child may truly be missing and longing for the needed warmth that your touch could provide, okay? So this may even be one of the ways God brings healing to help you redeem a harmful offense from your past and transforms your interaction into healthy, nurturing blessings for your children. So maybe your parents' touch was not gentle. Maybe you were physically abused. I can relate to that. I understand that. I was subjected to that as a kid, and I know what it's like to be not as affectionate as I should be. It's something that has actually been one of the things that my husband has brought to my attention in our marriage, was he just really needs a lot more affection than I have given him. And it's not that it pains me to do that. It's not that it brings up bad feelings. It's just that I kind of have become hard in that way. And I now have to be intentional to make sure that I'm showing him love, because that's in that way, because that's his love language. So I have to make sure that I'm giving him a little wink here and there when we can't physically be close together, by giving him a hug, by, maybe just grabbing his hand in the car to hold it. And those things don't always come so naturally to me, okay? Not because I didn't have that as well. It's just there are things in life that have made me a little hard in that way, have made me withdraw my affection, and I don't want to be that way. I'm not that way with my children, but I can tend to be that way with my spouse, right? So I've come a long way in this area, and I can continue to grow even further, especially because it's my husband's love language. So being able to do that is really important to me, and it's important to him. So I understand that maybe that touch, maybe, physical touch was not something that brings up good memories for you. However, we can literally experience healing by giving that to our children. Okay? It's like the antidote in some cases, like where we're doing something that's the opposite of what we want to do, because that's what is needed for us to experience healing. That's what's needed for us to get through those hurtful times in our past, to work them out. That anger, it softens us, it brings warmth to us, and we're able to share that with our children, and that's a really big thing, okay? So life can be cold and unpredictable for our kids in this darkening world. It's that way for us. So why would we think it wouldn't be that way for our kids, right? Everyday stress can wear on our kids just as much as it wears on us. We get beaten down. Well, our kids get beaten down too. We get fearful of things and afraid, and we feel uncertain about things in our lives. Well, so do our children. We shouldn't be ignoring those things. We should be helping our children through those things. And, we go through emotional coldness, and sometimes we feel insecure. Well, so do our children, and we can literally drop our own emotional coldness and icy insecurity into our children's hearts. We could be planting those seeds. So I'm all about planting the seeds of good fruit in my ministry, in Wallace Family Ministry. And we can plant good seeds, or we can plant bad seeds. So we can continue to plant those seeds even if we're not physically abusing our children, okay? But if we're not giving them the affection that they need, the warmth that they need, then we are not planting good seeds. We're not we're just giving them a little bit more. Well, maybe it's different. Maybe it's better, okay? Maybe because you're not physically abusing them like your parents did to you or somebody in your life did to you. Maybe, yeah, okay, so that's better for them, but they're still not receiving that affection, attention, the warmth of your loving physical touch, right? They're still not experiencing that warmth from you. They're experiencing coldness and insecurity and really just emotional distance. So they're going to grow to be that way. And we have to think, do we want that for our children, or do we want them to be warm? Do we want them to be secure in our love? Do we want them to be emotionally open and emotionally, have a sense of emotional autonomy? Okay, we want them to, we always, as parents, especially parents who are loving, want our children to have a better life than we had. And of course, if we're not physically abusing our children and we got physically abused, well, their life is already a little bit better. But it doesn't mean that we're not planting good seeds. It doesn't mean, that we're not creating this pattern of generations of insecurity, of emotional distance, of coldness that we could be planting in their hearts. So this is important. We need to provide this to them. It's a need, a human need that we have, okay? And just because we didn't receive it doesn't mean we shouldn't be giving that to our children. And it actually can give you, I'm going to say this again, the healing that you need in your life from your own childhood, okay? So maybe all it takes to begin to thaw in some warm, tender affection from you as one called by God to be their mother and father. Your gentle caress on their back, or the comfort of your strong embrace could give them emotional strength that calms their worries and self-doubts, and it will likely interweave your hearts even tighter, okay? So even as adults, we need this. I think back, I had a cousin who I was close with for a very long time, and we had, I had kids and got married and moved away, and life, and we already lived in separate states, so life kind of took us down separate roads. But we didn't stay in touch for a few years, but when we saw each other and when we got to spend time together, we just, oh my goodness, we just had so much fun. We had deep conversations. We were able to connect, and it was like no time passed at all. And he recently passed away. And I remember getting into bed one night and waking up my husband, and I was a mess. And I just was like, can you hold me? Because I'm feeling really, really, really sad right now. And as soon as his loving arms and his warmth touched me, I fell into a million pieces because I felt safe to do so. I needed to do that. I felt his warmth, I felt his comfort and his non-judgment, and it was a safe place for me to go. Even as adults, sometimes we need to do that, right? And just like I said, sometimes, I can practice being more physically affectionate to my husband because that's his love language, right? So we really, really need this type of warmth and affection in our lives. So the Bible tells us of a man with leprosy who approaches Jesus on his knees one day, begging to be healed of his horrible skin disease. Now, back in this day, you did not want to be around somebody with leprosy. People were afraid of this. They shunned people that had leprosy, okay? And Jesus could have answered the sick man's prayer simply by speaking the words and just saying, okay, you are healed, right? But no, instead, and again, this is against the cultural custom and personal hygiene. I mean, one of the things was that they were considered unclean. I think they might have even been considered possessed, although don't quote me on that. But I think that might have been something too. They just were not socially and culturally accepted if you had leprosy, okay? So he reached out his hand and he touched him. And this was really surprising to his disciples and to people that were around, because that was not what anybody else would have done during that time except for Jesus. the healing literally began with a touch, okay? So your children need to be touched in that way, affectionately, by just giving them an embrace when they need a hug, or just because, okay, they need to have that physical affection from you. And nothing says, um, that you cherish them more than warmly, says that more warmly that you cherish your children than by your tender touch. Excuse me, sorry about that. So, how could you warm the life of your heart of your children today? The life and the heart of your children today. Take advantage of a current opportunity to give them an unexpected, tender touch. Choose an appropriate gesture that says, I cherish you, and do it with sincerity. Okay, so, you know, life can be cold and unpredictable um, for our kids in a darkening world. Sometimes a loving, appropriate touch can be healing and comforting to our children. So I am just going to go over the rest of our points that I want you to get today. So even if you didn't get loved this way as a child and this doesn't come natural, practice making your children feel cherished, okay? Our children need to be cherished, and nothing says it more warmly than your gentle touch. So that was our dare today, and I didn't say that. So I apologize. I'm having a hard time with this day for some reason. But is asking ourselves how we could warm the life and heart of our children today, and to take advantage of a current opportunity to give them an unexpected, tender touch. Choose an appropriate gesture that tells your children that you cherish them, and do it with sincerity. Okay, so I love you guys. I thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, like my channel, share me with your friends, especially if you know somebody you think would benefit from today's dare, or even just the study in whole. And make sure that you check out just the regular Love Dare, which is for your marriage, and you can even get creative in if you just want to do that study, and maybe you want to get creative and do it with a parent, so you can build a better relationship with your parent, or with a friend, or whatever it is that maybe you feel you're having some discord with, and you could just really love better. So I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow for day 10 of the Love Dare for parents. Take care, and God bless.